Minister, thank you very much, because you solved one problem of mine. I try to explain people in Switzerland, I live in Geneva, why are we not the Singapore of Europe? And you explained it very well. We should have had a program with a CBF. Very good. My question is, and I saw this morning coming in on the metro, that apparently Singapore is considering to write a strategic paper, what should be the identity over the next 5-6 years. Can you elaborate a little bit? Because somewhat you were relating here to cost-cutting, adapting to an economic downturn. But to what extent would that opportunity also be something that would give the young people a new form of an identity? As a last comment, I remember having read last year that some of the young people like to fly to Korea because there we have economic growth plus culture.
I think if you look at the development of Singapore over the years, in the early years of the development, we were very much concerned with our survival in terms of making sure that the economy will grow, there's enough jobs to enable to enhance the quality of life of Singapore. I think if you look at Singapore today, on the one hand, we are very much a first world country in terms of education, healthcare, economic development, public transport, standard of living, quality of life. And yet at the same time, I think in Singapore, somehow we always feel that it's like the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come because as a small country, we have this sense of insecurity that if we allow something to go wrong, then it can go very wrong. And when something starts to go wrong, it's going to be very difficult for us to put ourselves back on the right track again. So therefore, in Singapore, we tended to try to look ahead all the time, try to be more, to be proactive. So in other words, we believe that the best way to make sure that things do not go wrong is try to do the right things all the time, in fact, even before it is necessary. So one example is this, is that the Singapore economy. The Singapore economy is still doing well. I think it's recovering quite nicely. But yet, we do not feel comfortable. We don't feel comfortable because we look ahead the next 5 to 10 years, we ask ourselves, what is happening to the global economy? We believe that some global shift is taking place. It's already taking place. We believe that in the next immediate future, there is a global downside. And this global downside is caused by the global unemployment. Earlier I mentioned about 7.4% global unemployment. That is way too high. And I think this is going to affect the mindset of many countries in how they look, how they compete for businesses, investment, and so on. So there's a downside. So in other words, globalization over the next 3 to 5 years is likely to take a different tone compared to what has happened up till now because of this high global unemployment. And there's a downside. On the upside, there are at least 2 areas we think are to the advantage of an economy like Singapore. It may not be to your advantage, but it's to the advantage of Singapore. One is a structural shift towards Asia. We believe that the globalization of the next 5 to 10 years, there is a structural shift towards Asia. And secondly, the pace of urbanization is going to get faster and faster in places like China and India, and thereby present 2 very important opportunities for Singapore. Firstly, we are in competitive economy in Asia. So with the structural shift to Asia, we think that benefits Singapore. Secondly, urbanization. Singapore is an urban city. All right. We don't have countryside. We are a small little island. It's an urban city. Many problems that these urban cities in other countries are going to face over the next 5, 10, 20 years. We already face them in Singapore in the last 5, 10, 20 years. So in other words, many of the solutions that we have in Singapore can actually be multiplied, be exported to the rest of the world. One example is water. Here you drink Evian from Europe. Now, in Singapore, water is a very scarce resource. We have a big popular density, but we don't have enough land. So we don't have enough catchment area to store the water. So what do? So basically, for many years, we import water from Malaysia. So some water are produced locally, some imported from Malaysia. We have 2 water agreements. One will run up by the year 2011, second one 2061. So by 2011, we have to become more self-sufficient. Come 2061, we have to become completely self-sufficient. And the Singapore government, as I mentioned earlier, we feel very insecure. Yeah. Even though 2061 is still 52 years away from now, already we feel the need, the desire to find a solution. Because we don't want our children, our grandchildren, to be caught in a situation whereby they run out of water. So what we did, we asked ourselves, for every drop of water we're able to produce in Singapore today, if we need to produce 3 more drops, so from 1 to get to 4, right, 1 to 4, how to get there? Everybody would say, very easy, 1 plus 3 equal to 4. Yeah, that's a very simple mathematics. So where does the plus 3 come from? You can collect more rainwater, or you can go to the sea desalination. So that's one way. But except that desalination is expensive, it's energy intensive, it's not environmentally friendly. So we say, look, can we do something else? So in Singapore, we go back to the basic mathematics. We say 1 plus 3 equal to 4, but there's another way. 1 plus 1, bracket, multiplied by 2, also equals to 4. Yeah. So what it means? What it means is that instead of trying to create 3 more drops of water for every drop of water we have today from the sea, all we need to do is to create 1 more drop. And then we make use of every drop of water in Singapore twice. First time by the human being. Second time by the air conditioning system, by the wafer fabrication plant, by the non-portable use. Right? So non-portable use. And that's how we did. So today, if you go around the world today, there's only one city in the world today that has put in place the infrastructure for 1 plus 1 times 2. And that place is Singapore. There's no other city in this world that had a system in place. Every drop of wastewater, every drop of used water after human consumption is being collected with a 100% collection system in Singapore. And every drop of this water, having collected, we pre-process them, and then we send them through reverse osmosis, ultraviolet, and the second drop will turn out to be even purer than this first drop. So, and we call this type of water the NEWater, yeah, because we give the water a new lease of life. So NEWater in Singapore today is cleaner than the drinking water because why? It's as clean as distilled water, having gone through a process of reverse osmosis and the ultraviolet and so on. Now, so the point here really is this, is that we believe that firstly, I think Singapore will continue to strengthen our national identity in the sense of from the economic development to the social development to the environmental management. We want to show the world that we may have many natural disadvantages against us because we are just too small. Yeah, we're just too small, we're just too dense. But yet we believe that if we can somehow apply our mind, make use of the best technology from the world, then innovate the solution according to our desire, the requirement, then find the market for our innovation. In fact, we can more than survive. We can more than survive. So it's not just in the way that we run our economy, we run it the Singapore way. We run the Singapore society our Singapore way as well. You come to Singapore, we are a multiracial society with Chinese, Malay, Indian, and what you call the Eurasians and other races. It's a multiracial society. But if you come to a housing estate, in Singapore, we don't allow the Chinese to live with the Chinese alone. We don't allow the Malay to live with the Malay alone. We don't allow the Indians to live among the Indians alone, because that is a sheer way of having social divides. Yeah. So for many years, we have this so-called ethnic integration policy. So in every community, there must be a combination of Chinese, Chinese, Malay, Tamil, and so on. Yeah. So that's how we run our society. The way we run our environment is the same. So I would say that on the whole, you see that this is a Singapore identity. I think our uniquely Singapore way of life hopefully continue to gather from strength to strength.